The world unfolds differently for each of us. Why? Where do the rules come from? Within each of us, there is a unique philosophy shaping our thoughts, beliefs, feelings, worldviews, and actions. This is Inner Dialogues with Ejam, an introspective space for curious souls and minds. This is where you get to understand your individual philosophy that writes the script of your life. This is where we unveil the inner wisdom that guides you. Yep, that was your inner sage knocking the door. Let's go and chat with him. Hello, it's Ejam. Welcome back to Inner Dialogues with me. It has been a while, right? 3 weeks, 4 weeks, something like that. With Philos and with Inner Dialogues with Ejam podcast, I feel like there has been consistent breaks almost in every episode of both of them, basically. But I feel very good about this in the sense that, okay, this is not to say that, oh, I'm amazed. Like, I'm feeling amazing with these breaks and not having like episodes of podcasts, of newsletter every week, although it was my intention since I started. It's not that. There's this like disturbing, like uneasy feeling that I always carry with me, because I'm not putting out episodes. But probably you feel it in your own life as well. These times are like our transition times for all of us. So, and it's not only my business in this case. It's just my whole life, the way I feel about myself, about my life, my personal life. Things are different. Things feel different. Or maybe better to say, there's a craving for feeling different, maybe. And in these kind of periods, sometimes the ground can feel a bit slippery and unstable. But I'm here. long story short, I'm here. And as it happened with Philos, the latest one that you received, if you signed up, Philos, the weekly newsletter, journal-like newsletter. It's not weekly, but let's call it like that for the time's sake. You will see that, or maybe if you saw it on my Instagram story, that it was very impulsive. Like I had a chat with a friend, as always, right? And first I watched a video, and then I shared my feelings with a friend, and then I was like, look, I want to share this with more people. And it was midnight. Literally, it was 12:30, something like that. So I started writing Philos, and I just scheduled to be sent 12 hours later. And same thing goes with this podcast. I was ironing, not fancy as it looks, but it comes in these kind of states. I think it creation finds me. I was ironing, and I was listening to an interview, and I started writing things from that interview, and from what resonated with me about it. And I was like, I'm gonna record an episode. I have a couple of ideas that a couple of things that I want to mention, but apart from that, I just opened the Audacity, which is the program that I record on. I put on my mic, and I started creating. I started again impulsively. It was the case with last night's. Well, you received it 3 hours ago. The last Philos that you received. So yeah, impulsive creations. This is what I learned, as well as this is what I learned as well in a group coaching program that I took a couple of months ago, which was related to human design. I wouldn't call it group coaching because what I do also is individual one-on-one coaching and group coaching. So I wouldn't call it coaching because I don't feel it's the same definition. It was more on the side of mentoring, which is fine. But it really helped me to understand how I work when it comes to my design, human design. If any of you are familiar with human design, my design is generator. And there is this concept of sacral response, which means that when you create yourself spaces to respond, this could be ironing, this could be drawing, this could be anything that you enjoy doing, or anything that puts you in this state of, flow state, I'm going to say, you start receiving responses. And that was the case, with today's ironing and interview listening, when I was listening to the interview as I was ironing, as well as it was the case when I found that video that I referred to in Philos, which stimulated some thoughts in me. And then I created the latest Philos with that. So sacral response and impulsive, instinctive response means that, and it is tiring. It can be tiring, but yeah, I'm learning to play with that, be playful with that. With that being said, today I want to talk about getting out of our own ways. Like, how many times we stay in our own ways. This was a question that was asked to me by my friend, she's the same friend that I shared my feelings with, the video that I came across last night. I think earlier this week we were speaking, and I said to her that for a little while I've been craving to watch the Chronicles of Narnia, the first one. The ones that who follows me on Instagram will understand the latest video that I shared with you, and where it basically, how it was basically created. I was craving to watch the very first one, the Chronicles of Narnia, the Lion, the Wardrobe, and what was it called? Anyway, the very first movie. And I said this to my friend, and she was like, "Why don't you watch it? Like, why you feel like, if you're feeling like watching it for a while, why don't you watch it?" And I was like, I don't think I questioned that before, but I said to her, I feel like I watched a bunch of times, so probably with the idea of, I can watch something else. It wouldn't be a good use of my time. Again, I'm going back to the same concept of productivity, even in my hobbies. Like I cannot beat. So yeah, I cannot like just turn in a movie just because I enjoy it. That was the driving force behind me deciding not to watch it and postpone it constantly. And she was like, you know what? Maybe it's more of a waste of time dwelling about it. You could do something. You can think about something else, because you already put your energy into, I should not watch it. By thinking that, I should not watch it, you're already spending your energy on it, so you can do something else. So if you go by this reasoning, let's get out of the way what makes you dwell. And when she said that, it just, oh my goodness, I'm again coming across with the same concept of staying in my own way. Like, I should get out of my own way sometimes, if not most of the time. I don't think I mentioned this before, but I started taking classes on Jinang Qigong, which is a branch of Qigong. And the teacher there sometimes says, like, all of a sudden, she says, get out of the way. I was like, yes, like, even we most of the time we meditate and we stay in these poses that are special to this branch of Qigong. And even when I'm trying to experience, whether we want to call it soul or consciousness, or my heart, whatever that is, my mind still tries to come up with ideas about, this is how it should feel like. This is how you should be in touch with your consciousness. This is how this meditation should go. And in the moments when teacher says that, get out of your own way, everything stops. Everything stops because in that time, all that mental chatter stops. All that trying to be's stops. You just be. And when my friend said these words to me for my decision of, maybe I should watch Narnia because I'm really craving it, he was like, get out of your own way, which made me watch Narnia. And and from that movie, the video that I posted yesterday, probably on Wednesday, Born was born. It was, like, every time, this does not fail, every time when I follow something that my heart craves, something I crave, deeply, something is born out of it. And maybe it is the prospect of something is going to born out of it, and that's why I'm staying away from it. Because creativity and creation is, for me at least, you give birth to something, and it can come with its own struggles and with its own, when you're about to give a birth to a child, not that I've ever did, but it comes with its own struggles of, it just, in those times where you have cramps and to give birth to something, it can be that, the possibility of, I'm gonna give birth to something, and I know that it's a deep, probably subconsciously, I know that I will get something out of the thing that I'm craving so deeply, and that's why I'm staying away from it. This could be my subconscious program, most probably. And today, when I was listening and watching at the same time this interview, I was the same topic popped up. Like, I made an episode inspired by the same interview, but this time it's not basically the same interview. It was an interview again by John Mayer with Shawn Mendes, but this time it was on his show, John Mayer's podcast show. The previous one, which was that I mentioned in episode 2, second season, episode 2, it was a written in interview. But this time, they were talking about, getting, like, being a performer and how to enjoy the things that you perform, like the stage, all that thing. And conversation went into the topic of, like, if we were to be so obsessed with ourselves as the performer of the craft, well, we not every one of us performer, but every one of us has a craft, right? I talked about this idea of craft and being a craftsman in what we do, and having this what this mindset of being a craftsman can lead us to in previous episode. I'll refer to those episodes in the description, but here as well, like being so obsessed with yourself as the performer, they say, will keep you away from enjoying the show and creates further differentiation between you and the crowd. And of course, I drew some conclusions for myself. It made me reflect on my own craft as well. Like, for example, here, right, in this podcast, if I were to obsess over how I sound, whatever, if I'm giving the image of perfection or whatever, I wouldn't be really doing what I'm here to do, because I'd be so obsessed and self-conscious of how I'm presenting myself. Do I sound wise? Do I sound this and that? Do I, I would be so obsessed over myself, so much so that I'm not fulfilling the purpose of this gathering, of this podcast. And there's a very thin line between these two realms, because they don't negate each other. We have to have a certain level of self-awareness, but it shouldn't keep us away from enjoying the craft that we are doing, right? I love contemplating about life. I love questioning life. I love searching and excavating for the truth always, in my own truths, and into how I feel and what creates my reality. But if I were to be so obsessed over all of these things, I wouldn't be able to fulfill my purpose, if that makes sense. So, and same thing goes for my coaching as well. The podcast, this started as here's I don't want to say misconception, because this is how I started my journey with Inner Dialogues with a gem brand. But people think that what I do mainly is the podcast, because maybe I'm not very well positioning my social media content or the conversations that I lead around what I do, what basically my craft is, which is Flowsophy. And there are different there are different mediums where I execute Flowsophy, coaching, podcasts, and all that other mediums out there. But my main medium is my coaching space. And lately it has evolved. In the last 3 months, it has evolved into group coaching, which I'm very, very happy about. So yeah, there is this, when I speak with people who they know me from my own personal life, they're like, how's your podcast going? It's good, but the main focus is not really there, it's a side thing that I do to complete the whole picture of coaching, the whole picture of philosophy, but the main component of it is the coaching space that I provide to people and create. But that's another different topic. Why I started saying this? I lost my train of thoughts. Yeah, I was saying that like being so obsessed about ourselves, like self-conscious about ourselves, which keeps us away from enjoying our crafts. one side of it is this podcast, definitely, but the main side of that I should be more conscious about, I should be more aware of, is my coaching part, because I want to be a good coach. I want to be at my best in my sessions, but there's a very thin line between I want to master it at this craft, so much so that I lose the excitement, I may lose the joy that I'm getting out of it, which is not the case, and I hope it will never be. But it goes back to the same idea of getting out of my own way. Like, I should get out of my own way by stripping myself away from the label of a coach, the label of this, of that, and just immersing myself with my craft in whatever form. It will give us the freedom and playfulness with the space of our craft, I think. The other topic that has to do with this idea of getting out of our own ways is this perception of doing too much, with this driving force of, if I were to do more, if I were to take more actions, if I were to think more, if I were to, do more, I'll get more, I'll achieve more, I'll be more. And I think this is if this is not the way that we stay in our own ways, I don't know what it is. Like, in the sense that instead of letting go some certain cycles that we stuck in, instead of surrendering to the unknown, right? We try to control it by trying to do more, trying to solve more, trying to get things done more. And I think that is one of the biggest ways we stay in our own ways. Like in the case of the meditations in Jinang Qigong, I the example that I gave you, my mind was trying to, okay, let me focus on here, or like, let me just chill down a bit, or maybe I should focus more. I should feel this around my head. Why that thought has come? It should be all like a pure area. Why this is happening? Okay, let me calm down. Like, let me do. In the moment the teacher says, "Get out of your own way," everything stops. Everything stops because you do nothing except for being. You just be. You can call it be yourself, you can call it existing, you can call it whatever you want, but you stop extra action, which keeps you away from purely existing. With that in mind, I wasn't planning to I wasn't planning to go into this road, but again, very intuitive, very impulsive way of marketing. But I shared this for, as I said, I started to doing monthly group coaching sessions with my community, and the third one we did was probably last week. No, on the 17th of December. And I shared with them with this new offer that I created as a as an inspiration for my monthly group coaching sessions. And the very first one, very interesting enough. Okay, there is this offer that I created called Flowsophy, as in not philosophy, but Flowsophy, flow state, Flowsophy Circles, which will be basically work in volumes, in cohorts, in whatever you want to say. With a group of 6 people, we'll be working closely for like 6 months, 3 months, 4.5 months, with a very close and intimate community. There will be like every bi-weekly group coaching sessions, because my community is a very intuitive community. They need their own time of simmering on their own. So it wouldn't make sense. It would overwhelm them and overwhelm me to do like every week, like weekly sessions. So we will have basically bi-weekly sessions in this period of 3 months or 4.5 months or 6 months, with a topic that we work with. And the topic will be determined by me, by like that, based on the things that I observe in my own community and based on the things that I observe in other people as well, in the conversations that I find myself in. But the very first one I created, interesting enough, it happened to be in Turkish. And the focus in there is to doing very less in order to find depth and fulfillment in life. So it will be a 18-week journey, 4.5 months. It will be in Turkish. It will be 6 people, 5-6 people, and the focus is the group coaching, yes, but it will be more than that. If you haven't joined the group coaching sessions that I host with my community, you would understand that it's like the main component is coaching, but the coaching is accompanied by journaling and meditation and basically what I have in my toolbox. So the Flowsophy Circles, which will be, which will come in volumes, will be a place and space for me where I can use and share my toolbox with my community, with the people who will come into my world, and with the people whom I will be company in their worlds. So yeah, the very first one will be in Turkish, but the second one, or I'm also planning doing simultaneously the English one, English Philosophy Circle, the volume 2 I called it, will be about intentional and grounding action taking toward a new desired reality. Again, it was inspired from our group coaching sessions, where the focus is, it says intentional, because I think most of the time we move from this responsibility, like sense of high responsibility, out of really desiring it, out of really like instead of like intentionally wanting it, we move from a high sense of responsibility, which is not always takes us to our intentions. So the second part as well, the second part of the second pillar I want to say of that topic is the grounding action taking. And grounding means the things that roots you into yourself, the things that, so again, it almost has the same focus of, we're not trying to do more here. We're trying to strip back, like we're almost, I won't say, we are trying to get naked as possible in order to really do less but more, if that makes sense. Less is more, kind of a mantra. And all this to say is to, all of these things have this focus around this time of the year, because the narrative of New Year resolutions, New Year, new me, perfect. But I think we should look at the pressure that it may create on ourselves, and also we should look at what did really happen, like based on all the resolutions that you set out for yourself in December, and you started the clean January, right? What happened in February? What happened in April, So working closely for like 18 weeks, 6 months, 3 months, and I'm keeping all these things very open, like, because I'm very much, the spaces that I create very much customizable for the people nurturing those spaces. That's why I'm saying 3 months, 4.5 months, 6 months, but the Turkish one, it will be 4.5 months. It will be 18 weeks. And the English one, the volume 2, intentional and grounding action taking for a new desired reality, is open for now, like open-ended in the sense of, because I didn't create a page talking a lot about it, like a sales page on my website or etc. I'm just announcing it right now to every one of you who haven't been on the group coaching call. There is this kind of creation that are in the plans for me in the new year. So if you're craving this kind of intimate community of 6 people, 5 people, and me as well, where you're gonna be creating your life like step by step, with the resolutions, with the new things that you want for yourself from this new year, let's do that together. Let's do that together in the first half of the year. It's not gonna be like strict New Year resolutions. It's more like, as I said, moving back, like regressing back to what we really hold on to excessively, Let's just let go of that, and the answers will come to us eventually. I'm planning to create a sales page. I'm planning to create a whole page of, explaining what it is and how it will work. But yeah, the Turkish offer, it will start the volume 1 of Flowsophy Circles. It will be in Turkish, as I said. It will start on the 13th of January with the same small community, 6 people, and the English one probably around the same dates or a bit further down the January, if not early February. But if this calls out you, really, like, leave me your details in the below. Like, it doesn't have to be, I'm committing to this, so let's make a call or something like that. No, I really like, if this calls out you, let's get in touch. Because I feel like this offer is for people who crave a deep connection with like-minded people, like-souled people. Like-souled, and not a very right way of saying in English, but, similar souls, let's say. And the ones who craves for a different reality, the ones who feels that they're in the threshold of a new reality for themselves. And with the support of a community, it can really take us where we want to be much quicker. I've seen it happening in the span of 3 months, just with the monthly group coaching session. So I can only imagine, what will happen if we were to work closely. If you were to work closely for 6 months, 18 weeks. So yeah, I'm very excited. This is what I'm trying to say. And oh my God, it has been already 33 minutes since I started recording. But yeah, this is what I want to say. And why I went into this whole tangent of Flowsophy Circles is because, okay, first things first, I'm very excited. I'm very, very excited. The fuel that I get from our monthly group coaching sessions with our community just lasts for weeks. So yeah, Yeah. And I wanted more of that. I saw people, wanting more of that as well. Yeah, but basically this why I started this whole tangent is that why I went to whole tangent is that we get in our own way when we think we need to do more, think more, achieve more. Do we really, right? Like that's my approach for the last couple of months, and that's something that I will take into the new year. Like, do I really have to fill the spare time, quote unquote, I have? Do I really have to fill the spaces, the silences, No, I don't. Those spaces and silences can be times for me to simmer, can be times for me to recalibrate. So yeah, I hope you found something in this episode for yourself. Maybe I can leave you with some questions, like, and I want to say this before I give you the questions, which I don't have the questions right now because I wanted this. I think I'm in my era where I create things very instinctively, which is how I function anyway. But I want to say, like, getting in our own way, the way I experiencing it can be, it can be such a sneaky thing. We can get in our own ways, and we don't even realize it. Like in the case of, me wanting to watch the Chronicles of Narnia, but I was just resisting toward it, or, like, yeah, like it can, like in the case of like my coaching sessions, this podcast, right? I'm always saying, like, the coaching requires a lot of self-management, requires a lot of self-control is not the right word, but self-management skills, because you have to be self-conscious enough that you're not getting in your own way, but at the same time you're not getting in the way of the client. And yeah, I think that's all I want to say, that it can be sneaky. So I can ask you, maybe it will be a bit of loaded way to ask you, but I can ask you, what do you really, like, deeply want and crave from life, but you somehow stay away from doing it? You get in your own way. And how would it look like if you were to get out of your own way? I don't know. It may be worth experiencing. Not thinking, because thinking takes us to a certain place, but it doesn't takes us where experiencing can take us. So yeah, I'll leave all the details about the Turkish offer, the Flowsophy Circles Volume 1, and I'll leave the details for you to leave me your details, so that if this calls out you can reach out to me for Flowsophy Circles and the Volume 2 Turkish one, the English one, and we'll catch up from there. But until then, it's good to be back. As our conversation for today fades away, may you find your echoes of it that resonate within you. Thanks for listening today. This is Inner Dialogues with Ecem, a place where you discover your inner you, a place where you belong. Take care.